The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Warlord Craxthor slammed his four-clawed fist onto the negotiation table. The massive Draxian warrior, standing nearly 3 meters tall with scales that could deflect plasma fire, glared down at Ambassador Elena Rodriguez with barely contained fury. "Your species speaks of peace, yet you colonize faster than the swarm ever did," Craxthor growled, his voice rumbling through the chamber. "I challenge you, human. Trial by combat. If you survive, we discuss your treaty. If not, humanity withdraws from the outer rim." Elena calmly closed her data pad and stood. At 1.7 meters, she looked like a child before the warlord. The assembled representatives from 200 species whispered among themselves. Humans were known as decent negotiators, but physically? They were average at best, no natural armor, no enhanced strength, no remarkable speed. "I accept," Elena said quietly. The duel was scheduled for the next solar cycle in the ceremonial arena. Over 50 billion beings across the galaxy tuned in to watch what they assumed would be a quick execution. The betting pools heavily favored Craxthor, with odds reaching 1,000:1. As they entered the arena, Craxthor wore his ceremonial combat armor, wielding a plasma blade that hummed with lethal energy. Elena wore a simple gray suit and carried nothing but a small device on her belt. "You mock me with no weapon?" Craxthor roared. "On the contrary," Elena replied. "I brought humanity's greatest weapon." The signal sounded. Craxthor charged forward with devastating speed. Elena didn't run. She pressed the device, and suddenly, the arena's holographic projectors activated. Images surrounded them, not of weapons or warriors, but of data. Trade routes. Economic projections. Military fleet positions. "What trickery is this?" Craxthor demanded, stopping mid-charge. "No trickery. Just truth," Elena said, her voice now amplified across the arena. "You challenged me to combat, Warlord. But humans don't just fight with fists and blades. We fight with information, strategy, and understanding." The projections shifted, showing the Draxian Empire's supply lines, the unrest in their conquered territories, the brewing rebellion on their homeworld that Craxthor had left behind to attend this summit. "Your empire is collapsing, Warlord. Not from human expansion, but from your own tyranny. We've mapped every weakness, every dissenting voice, every economic instability. I could transmit this data to your enemies with a single command, and your civilization would tear itself apart within a stellar cycle." Craxthor's scales paled. Around the galaxy, billions watched in stunned silence. "But I won't," Elena continued, deactivating the display. "Because unlike you, we prefer partnership over domination. The treaty I offer grants you access to human agricultural technology and trade networks that could feed your people and stabilize your economy. We can help you transition from conquest to cooperation." She walked closer, fearlessly. "So here's my counteroffer: yield this duel, sign the treaty, and humanity helps rebuild your empire into something sustainable. Or refuse, and watch everything you've built crumble." Craxthor stared at the small human before him. Slowly, deliberately, he knelt and placed his blade on the ground. "Humanity fights without fighting," he said, wonder in his voice. "You have won, Ambassador." The galaxy learned something that day: humans didn't need claws, scales, or superior strength. They had something far more dangerous: the patience to understand their enemies better than their enemies understood themselves.